during that rain. Kickers have told me that wind, well, it could add, when they're kicking with it, it could add anywhere from 6 to 10 yards to their distance. So that's something to watch for. On the injury front, Denver is without versatile safety TJ Ward. He is without with a concussion. Linebacker Brandon Marshall will miss his third straight game with a hamstring injury. And tight ends Virgil Green and AJ Derby are both out, also with concussions. And for Kansas City, linebacker Justin Houston, who was so big and had 3 sacks in that first matchup in Week 12 between these two teams, he is out tonight with a knee injury.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Big names. You look at the two coaches. Now, if the Broncos win, they remain alive for a playoff berth, and the Raiders would clinch the AFC West. If the Chiefs win, they remain alive for the AFC West title. The Broncos are eliminated, and the Miami Dolphins will be in. Cairo Santos to kick off. Kansas City won the toss, and they have deferred one bit of improvement over last week. When they kicked off last week, Kansas City against Tennessee, it was 1 degree. 1. Tonight it's 51.
That works.
Yeah, for us and
so
everybody
well
else.
For Michelle. I don't know about Michelle down there.
For sure. So Arrowhead Stadium on this Christmas night already rocking as the kick will be fielded at the 5-yard line by Khalif Raymond. And Raymond will get taken down at the 22-yard line, and we'll take a look at the Denver offense.
Trevor Siemian, Northwestern.
Justin Forsett, Cal.
Demarius Thomas, Georgia Tech.
Emmanuel Sanders, SMU.
Jordan Norwood, Penn State.
Jeff Hireman, The Ohio State University.
Russell Okung, Oklahoma State.
Max Garcia, Florida.
Matt Paradis, Boise State.
Michael Schofield, Michigan.
Donald Stevenson, Oklahoma.
That offensive line has been in the crosshairs. You saw where the players rank at their position through Week 15, and we start with the run, and we start with Justin Forsett, who started the season with Baltimore and then went to Detroit and came here 3 weeks ago. So Siemian, you know the story, 7th-round draft choice, sat on the bench inactive all of last season, gets the starting job. He's been pretty good. 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. The rating is okay. All things considered, pretty happy with him. Problem has been that offensive line and no running game. 2nd down and 7. Off play action, he has time and then spins it out incomplete, intended for Forsett, and that will make it 3rd down and 7 for the Broncos.
Well, last time it was Justin Houston. This time it's going to be D. Ford. Here's a guy that had the hamstring injury and 10 sacks earlier this season. Hasn't had one since that injury. So one of the key matchups, can they keep D. Ford off of Trevor Siemian?
Siemian got sacked 5 times in that game at Denver a month ago. Alex Smith got sacked 6 times in the game. 3rd and 7 from the 25. 4-man rush. Siemian sliding to his left, throws complete, and then a nice move by Hireman to pick up the 1st down. So they're minus a couple of tight ends, and Hireman has to get the start. A nice move there to pick up the 1st.
Yeah, nice job here by Trevor Siemian as well. It feels a little pressure coming over here to his right, just slides away from it. That's the kind of protection they need here tonight. And for Jeff Hireman, he's the only tight end sort of left standing on this team. He's going to get a lot more action than he has all season long.
As Michelle mentioned, Virgil Green, AJ Derby, both inactive tonight, injured. So we'll see a lot of Hireman. Now we see a draw here. Forsett runs into his own man and can go nowhere as he runs into the tackle. And let's meet the Kansas City defense.
Raheem Nunez-Roches, Southern Miss.
Dontari Poe, Memphis.
Chris Jones, Mississippi State.
D. Ford, Auburn University.
DJ Alexander, Oregon State.
Ramake Wilson, Georgia.
Frank Zombo, Central Michigan. Marcus Peters, West Oakland, California.
Eric Berry, Tennessee.
Ron Parker, Buford High School.
Terrence Mitchell, Oregon.
Come up without a huddle. The pass for Sanders is low and outside and incomplete to make it 3rd down and 10.
There's a few different looks out here for the Kansas City Chiefs. One at the cornerback position. This young man, number 39, Terrence Mitchell, has made some nice plays for them. You would think, though, despite the fact that he's played very well over the last couple of weeks, that if they get a chance to go after him early, that would be a clear option.
taking the spot normally occupied by Philip Gaines, who was lit up in that game in Denver last month. Simeon under pressure, throws a wobbly pass. May have been deflected. Chris Jones put the heat on, probably got a piece of it, and it's 4th down. So 1 first down, and now they're forced to punt.
Chris Jones has turned into a superstar in this league, and he did this to Michael Schofield in the first matchup between these two teams. He's too big, he's too strong, and as much as they want to help those tackles on the outside, somebody has to come up with an answer for Chris Jones inside.
And somebody better come up with an answer if they're going to punt it to Tyreek Hill. The game breaker standing back at the 25. Riley Dixon takes the low snap. This is a line drive kick. And Hill's going to let it bounce, and it will bound out of bounds at the 23-yard line. So 2:10 into the game. That's where Smith and company take over at Arrowhead. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By H&R Block, get your taxes won. By Volkswagen. And by Capital One, get the Quicksilver card. That is the multi-talented outside linebacker for the Chiefs, one D. Ford. Been playing the piano since he was 12 years old. Pretty good.
How much would you give to be able to do that?
Yep.
Especially during the holidays.
From the 23-yard line on first down, they give the ball to Spencer Ware, their leading ground gainer. He takes it to the 28 as the rain begins to come down. Michelle talking about the movable feast that is the weather tonight. Alex Smith, another good year for him. The numbers are very similar almost year after year. He completes about 2/3 of his passes. 6 more yards tonight. He'll be over 3,000. The 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio as that front moves through. And in the rain, Tyreek Hill lines up in the backfield on 2nd down and 6. They fake it to him, then go to the outside to Kelsey, their leading receiver, and he gets taken down by Talib, but not until he picks up very close to a first down.
Al used to call some NBA games. Remember the old 2-man game? Just basically 2 guys. That's what this offense has turned into. If you're going to end up faking it to Tyreek Hill, who are you going to get it to? Out there on the outside with Travis Kelsey. And those 2 guys are really the main weapons on this offense. You're going to see Alex Smith get the ball out of his hand very quickly, try and take away the pass rush of the Broncos.
Kelsey, who's caught 74 passes this year, and Hill, who can break the game open at any time. And here he goes. Hill to midfield and all the way to the Denver 40-yard line. Anytime he gets the ball in his hands, look out. Gain of 29.
Von Miller, arguably the defensive player of the year, no way is going to catch up with Tyreek Hill. Watch how fast he is. I mean, it was Von Miller basically just looking at him and knowing it was coming, and he still could not catch up to it. And we have seen that time after time, game after game. And when he turns the corner, he looks like somebody in the 200 meters, Usain Bolt or something. Just a fantastic talent.
Splits wide to the right this time at the Denver 41-yard line. Ware is the running back. Spencer Ware, nice hole through the middle, a first down and more. To the 21-yard line goes Spencer Ware, who's on his way to maybe a 1,000-yard season. He's going to be close. That's a gain of 19.
Well, they've got another answer for Von Miller here. Now they're going to bring the tight end across to block him and bend it right back in behind on that inside zone play. So they are going to try and do some things basically to leave Von Miller alone. You can't block him, so what's the next best thing to do? Leave him out there isolated and attack him in different ways.
Now Miller on the sideline, 23-yard line. Smith tells Hill to come on inside. Nice guy to keep company with. Give it to him. Looking to get to the outside. This time he can't. Turned back in by Nelson as we take a look at the KC offense.
Alex Smith, University of Utah.
Spencer Ware, LSU.
Jeremy Macklin, Mizzou.
Chris Conley, Georgia.
Ty Hill, Pearson, Georgia.
Travis Kelsey, Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
Eric Fisher, Central Michigan.
Zach Fulton, Tennessee.
Mitch Morse, Missouri.
Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, McGill University. Mitchell Schwartz, Cal.
And the rain has lightened up over the last minute and a half or so, so it's 2nd down and 11 from the 24. This is the first drive for Kansas City tonight. And they're throwing, caught, coming over the middle, picking up the first down is Travis Kelsey.
We're back to the two-man game. This time, the safety, Darian Stewart, and he's just going to come in here and just run a simple little post route. Remember, T.J. Ward is out. A guy oftentimes would be out there playing that sort of man coverage. And this has been surgical-like so far for Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs. It was Kelsey not so happy last week when he got just one target in the second half of that game.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy with the play calling all the way through. First and goal from the 10. Smith's going to keep it himself. Around the outside, he goes for the touchdown. Kelsey with a block to lead the way. Smith, who did a lot of running in the past, but very little this year, around the end for the touchdown.
Yeah, just the read option. He's got the choice to hand it or to keep it off the other side. And then it's really left on the outside to Travis Kelsey to make the block against the young rookie Justin Simmons, filling in for T.J. Ward. There he is, just hanging in front, looking a little like a basketball player, and no problem. What an opening drive for the Kansas City Chiefs.
5 runs, 2 passes, 77 yards in 7 plays. Cairo Santos for the point after. And 6 minutes into the game on this Christmas Sunday night. Kansas City up 7-0. Don't miss a moment of tonight's game with the NBC Sports app. You can watch the game anywhere, live on your laptop, tablet, connected TVs, or at Union Station here in Kansas City, Missouri.
Beautiful Christmas time around here.
Country Club Plaza, sparkling during this Christmas season as the kick is fielded by Raymond in the end zone. Well, the offense and the defense, and you go back to, well, last year, 19th in points per game, points allowed per game, they were 4th. You see the disparity, not much doing on the offensive side. Last 2 weeks, they took care of Mariota and Brady, holding them to below average days, but lost both games. 13 points scored in that 2-game span. Fewest since back in '92. So that led to a little bit of consternation after the game in Denver last week when they lost to New England. Simeon retreats and then throws. That's caught by Booker. And Booker is able to turn it into a 16-yard gain out to the 41-yard line.
And how do you best slow down a pass rush that gave you fits last time? A little screen pass. Just come on out here. So just invite the rush to come flying up the field and dump it out. They needed that good first play there on first down to get them going.
Max Garcia with a good block, the left guard. Gain of 16. Booker, the 4th-round rookie out of Utah, will carry. And good game here, and Booker with back-to-back first downs to the Kansas City 47-yard line. And this is what the Denver defense is looking for the offense to do with regularity.
And they should be able to, because without Derek Johnson on the defensive side of the ball, teams have been running over there at that left side like that. DJ Alexander last week, and now they bring the safety Daniel Sorensen, and expect more of that tonight.
2 plays, 2 first downs on this drive. And the pass is a little bit underthrown. Turning around, Jordan Taylor looking for a flag, gets none. And of course, last week, as the story went, Russell Okung got up and was shouted down in the locker room by Aqib Talib. And is always the case with a team in that sort of situation, they're poo-pooing it and downplaying it.
Yeah, Gary Kubiak basically said, does anybody want to say something? Russell Okung got up to say something himself, and that was it. And then it was game on after that.
2nd and 10. Simeon throws, and that's batted at the line of scrimmage. But, you know, look, you were in a locker room for 8 years with the Bengals and University of Florida and all of that. That's not the first time it's ever happened, right?
It's not, but you have to keep an eye on that team the next week and see what's going on, right? Because sometimes, hey, I've been on teams where our offense was great, our defense was bad, and vice versa. So you're going to live both sides of that. Gary Kubiak said it was nothing. He was like, Chris, come on. But let's say this. This is a team to keep an eye on right now because they look a little divided.
So Simeon to take the snap on a 3rd and 10 out of the shotgun. He uses the shotgun with less frequency than almost every other quarterback in the league. He's chased and throws into traffic, and that's incomplete. And just to put a button on that story, we talked to Simeon about that. He said, I don't even know what happened in the locker room. I had to read about it afterwards.
Well, and it was interesting because Trevor Simeon basically said, he goes, it wasn't a whole lot. I didn't think it was a whole lot. Then I started reading about it in the paper, and I said, did I miss something? Did something else happen? So who knows? I mean, it was a great story. They talked about it all week, and if they end up losing this game tonight, it's going to become a bigger story.
Riley Dixon, rookie out of Syracuse. And that punt, and Hill's going to collect it at the 8. And this time Hill can only bring it back to about the 18-yard line, where Kansas City will take over their second drive. Upcoming, leading 7-0 at home. It's a new celebrity apprentice with the baddest boss in town, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's joined by celebrities including former NFL stars Ricky Williams and Eric Dickerson. Celebrity Apprentice premiering Monday, January the 2nd, right here on NBC. Starts to rain again, off and on. Probably last another hour or so from the 19-yard line. This drive starts with a Spencer Ware 1-yard gain. Let's take a look at the Denver defense.
Derek Wolfe, Cincinnati.
Sylvester Williams, North Carolina.
Jared Crick, Nebraska.
Von Miller, Texas A&M.
Corey Nelson, University of Oklahoma. Todd Davis, Sacramento State.
DeMarcus Ware, Troy.
Akeem Talib, Kansas.
Will Parks, Arizona.
Darian Stewart, South Carolina.
Chris Harris Jr., Kansas Jayhawks.
And the major domo of that defense, the one and only Wade Phillips. One of the all-time really great guys in the NFL. 2nd down and 9. And that pass is caught over the middle and taken in there by Kelsey for what should be a 1st down. Parks makes the stop. Reed calls in the next play.
It just doesn't matter who it is that they have on him. You end up out here one-on-one against Travis Kelce, and they are going to take it. That time, the other rookie, Will Parks, out there trying to guard him. They tried Justin Simmons. They have tried every different way, but when he gets one-on-one matchups, that's where they're going to go, right there to Travis Kelce.
They don't give him the 1st down, about a half-yard shy. They come up in the eye with a fullback, Anthony Sherman, and going to get the half-yard as he leads the way for Ware, and that is a 1st down at the 30-yard line for Kansas City.
Well, it has been the quick pass game of Alex Smith that makes this offense work. The fastest in the NFL. You can barely catch the ball and throw it in 2.25 seconds, but that's what Alex Smith does. And here are the numbers. On the left-hand side, you can clearly see 2.5 seconds or less, a much better quarterback than he is when he holds it longer. So that's the style they play with Alex Smith.
That information coming to you from the world headquarters of Pro Football Focus in Greater Cincinnati. Tyreek Hill to the outside. He goes down the sideline. Tyreek Hill out in front. Can they catch him? No, they cannot. He's done it again. 70 yards. And the fireworks go off. He's his own fireworks show. Wow. What are you going to say about this guy right now?
He looks like Bullet Bob Hayes. Watch how deep in the hole he goes and then just runs the loop. The 200 meters coming out. He's all the way deep in the hole and then loops all the way back out around those blockers. And then look at that move in the middle of the thing. This guy is a blur. There's Travis Kelce helping his mate. Look at him, putting Darian Stewart right on his back. This is an emotional team. Let's face it, it's hard to say, but the Oakland Raiders and the Derek Carr injury, they think they are going to win this division.
Well, they could if they win tonight, win in San Diego next week, and Denver beats Oakland. Did a great juke job there on the safety, Justin Simmons, along the way. And as was the case last week against Tennessee, Kansas City scores on its first 2 possessions, but last week only 3 points the rest of the game, and they lost. They're up 14-0.
Colquitt, and this is my wife, Christia, my son, Brinkley, Colston, Hartley, Kinsler, Cannon,
and we're wishing Chiefs Kingdom and NFL fans around the world a Merry Christmas.
The kicking Colquitt family. Dad with a couple of Super Bowl rings when he kicked for the Steelers in the late 70s.
Keep playing like this, they may get one for him too.
Santos the kickoff. And from the 6-yard line, Khalif Raymond. And he's able to sprint away. Santos is there, and he's able to force him out of bounds near midfield. But a good run back, and that's exactly what they need. And, you know, you're down by 14. You're not scoring. They have 13 points in the last couple of games. If you're the Denver Broncos right now, what are you trying to do?
Well, the Denver Broncos, first of all, are probably looking over at their defense and saying, hey, you know, where are you guys right now? So it works both ways, but that kickoff return was big. Now they need to put something together. They've moved the ball here a little bit, but Trevor Siemian, remember the big day he had against this defense. They're fully capable. These outside receivers, though, that are their best players, have to get involved.
He had his best day of the season in that overtime loss, and now through the left side goes Devontae Booker for a gain of close to 8. Tackle there by Wilson.
You know, we hit
second and 2.
We hit on it just a little bit. Derek Johnson being out at the middle linebacker for Kansas City, a huge deal on that side of the ball. Now they've got Terrence Smith in there, a guy that had 0 defensive snaps. So that running game that way has got to be part of the equation for the Broncos tonight.
Booker again. Flag is down, so we'll hear from Tony Correnti for the first time tonight. It's always a good thing when it's 10 minutes and 25 seconds into the game. You haven't heard from the ref yet.
False start, offense, or left guard. 5-yard penalty, and it will remain second down.
Not good news for Max Garcia.
It's always a good thing to hear from Tony Correnti no matter what. One of the better officials out here working with his crew on Christmas night.
Gary Kubiak, the head coach, in effect, he'd be your offensive coordinator. He calls the plays. That's his pedigree. Longtime backup to John Elway during his playing career. Siemian now is going to throw, and that's going to be off the hands of Booker to make it 3rd down and 7.
Can't miss that one. You know, this is an offense that doesn't have that much leeway, and Siemian trying to look left and throw right, but just can't miss that one. So now the big playmaker in that first game was Emmanuel Sanders. We haven't heard from him at all. So number 10 coming down here to the bottom of the screen is a guy that had a tremendous game, and so far, nothing to speak of.
Siemian in the rain now is 2 of 9 for 25 yards. They put pressure on him. He's going to go deep downfield and not even close. Intended for Demaryius Thomas, and he was covered by Mitchell. And it's 4th down. So already on 3rd down again, that's been the bugaboo all season long for these guys. Denver is 1 out of 4.
Throw that name right there in your memory bank. Terrence Mitchell in the last couple of weeks has stepped in there for Philip Gaines and just done a tremendous job. If he keeps playing the way that he is, this defense is different with him in there.
Riley Dixon. Crowd can't wait now. They see Hill standing back at the 15. Hill's going to back up, and then he's going to let it bounce into the end zone for a touchback.
All right, this stuff gets me excited now. Anytime you're talking about a great receiving tight end, I told you in the opening, great moves. Here you see a little bit of that. But what has made the difference here in the first half? His blocking. Watch what Kelsey is doing. Here he is. Cut off Von Miller there on that key run. Here he is on the outside, going to get the edge. Allow Alex Smith to go in for the touchdown. And then on the long touchdown, takes care of business on the outside against Darian Stewart and gets Tyreek Hill in the end zone. So far, Travis Kelce was upset last week. He's come back and said, I'm ready to play this week.
He could be the best tight end in the league apart from anybody named Gronkowski.
That would be a positive exception. I would agree.
Greg Olsen would be in the conversation too. So the defense here is able to do its job as Von Miller sticks it to Charkandrick West. His first carry of the night, 2nd and 12.
Yeah, so you go a little non-traditional now, and you start bringing Von Miller inside. He is the most exciting player on their defense. To some extent, you want to play a disciplined defense over there, but when you got a guy like that, Al, sometimes you got to say, Von, go get us one. You know, we need a momentum breaker here. Go get us something, and he does on first down.
They need a 3-and-out stop is what they need. 3.5 to go in the quarter. And taking it to the 21-yard line goes West. Gain of 3. It's 3rd down and 9 for KC.
Yeah, and there's Derek Wolfe over there making a play. Let's give him a little credit. Coming off a neck injury, was sick with the flu all week. A lot of people thought he wouldn't play. Now he's out here in this pouring rainstorm trying to keep it together, but he is their best run defender of those interior 3.
So 3rd and long. Crowd sees Hill in the game, and they love that. He's in the slot to the right side. Tight formation here. Play clock at 2. Smith gets hit as he throws, and it's picked off. It's picked off by Justin Simmons, and down the sideline he goes, and that's exactly what the Broncos needed here. Corey Nelson put the pressure on. That forced Smith to throw short. The ball is picked off and run all the way back deep into Kansas City territory.
Like Pittsburgh, you just got to create a little chaos here. There's Corey Nelson, going to loop around that way. They'll cross inside, and he just comes completely free, even at 2.5 seconds. All Alex Smith did there was catch it and throw it, and it wasn't enough. Tremendous play by the young rookie on the back end who has a bright future, this Justin Simmons.
Rookie out of Boston College. He was their 3rd-round draft choice. So now, can Denver cash in on a 1st down and goal? That was a 38-yard interception return. Justin Forsett is the back. They fake it to him. Simeon slides, throws, caught 1-yard line by Demaryius Thomas. Happy birthday, Christmas baby, Demaryius Thomas. Number 29 for him, I believe, today.
Excellent player, and there's Alex Smith. You know, they jumped out to what, that 14-0 lead a week ago, and then it sort of crumbled underneath them. And for Denver, they're hoping that's the beginning of it again.
Yep. They'd love to see history repeat. An extra lineman in here. You got Ferentz as the fullback, and going through the middle, a flag is down, so Forsett gets into the end zone, but. So Forsett celebrating. Let's see if it's premature or not. Conference here. Tony Correnti will tell us.
Offside, defense, number 55. This penalty has been declined, and the result of the play is a touchdown.
So the interception, a 1st and goal, and then into the end zone they go to have the lead.
Just so hard for these offensive linemen, Michael Schofield, to get around the edge. This time Schofield does a great job and just drives out Ramik Wilson for the easy touchdown. Nicely done up front.
And that quiets this as usual capacity throng at Arrowhead Stadium as Brandon McManus gets ready to kick the point after. Which these days is a lot of drama with any point after, especially in wet conditions. Riley Dixon to put it down. Bangs it through. So it's 14-7 Kansas City. And we'll be back in 30 seconds. So partner, you thought your fantasy season was over?
I did?
No, it's not. You can sign up free. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 52. You're going to be there anyway.
Absolutely.
We both will. In Minnesota next year. Join today, NFL.com. Playoff challenge. You know it's never too late.
Never too. You know who actually did beat me last night in the playoffs in my fantasy league?
No, who?
Warren Sapp. He didn't just beat me. He beat me to death. It was not good. So there you go.
And what's your prize?
I don't know.
Never mind. Don't want the IRS listening in.
Yeah.
I hear you. So the wet ball falling for the moment off the tee. It was supposed to really be extremely windy. There was a front that came through, is coming through, whatever. This line included thunderstorms. It was almost like Kansas City was getting the kind of weather you get in April on Christmas Day. Temperature in the mid-60s today. T-storms predicted. Haven't had any yet, but obviously the off and on rain. And now they're going to bring in Bradley Roby to hold. Of course, the crowd just anticipating old number 10 winding up with a football under any circumstance. And right now Hill is there. He is standing back at the goal line.
It's been amazing, hasn't it?
Ooh,
I mean, just the games we've seen him.
Yeah. This kid's getting better and better too. Here he goes from the one. Oh, great coverage that time. It's as good as it gets for that Denver special teams group. Dakota Watson is the guy who bottles him up. The great, the one and only Wade Phillips. Through the years, so much fun with this guy. And you take a look at since 2015, he took over. That's not bad. You're first in every category.
Yeah, and he makes outside linebackers great. I still think to some extent DeMarcus Ware came here because of Wade. He just, you know, he was with him in Dallas and he made him into one of the great pass rushers, and he knew what he does for outside linebackers.
From the 16, they start here. Spencer Ware. And a lot of people forget the interim in between the Dan Reeves era and the Mike Shanahan era. Wade Phillips was the head coach for 2 years of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, he couldn't find a job for a little while. Remember that one year he sat out, and I think he was in disbelief that nobody wanted him to be the coordinator. So when he did come back in and get a job, he did so with a little chip on his shoulder.
Son of a bum. Bum Phillips pops. Second down and 6 from the 20-yard line. Smith to the outside. Set up the bubble screen. Kelsey is off. Kelsey down the sideline. Kelsey has blocking. Talib tries to catch him from behind. They can't. Touchdown Kansas City. 80 yards. Off he goes. Kelsey for the touchdown. Already 4 catches tonight, over 100 yards. He has all 4 Kansas City receptions in the game.
Let's give a little tip of the cap to tackle Mitchell Schwartz. Look at the ability to get out around Von Miller and make that key block. And is this really the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, they're making big plays left and right here behind their star players.
Is this really the Denver defense? Second in the league coming in. Kansas City has 243 yards in a little over 14 minutes. That's a 1,000-yard pace. Not that they'll get there, but 243 already.
Man.
Extra point is good. They answer the touchdown by Denver with one of their own. 21-7 back in a half a minute.
Feliz Navidad.
Andy Reid completing his 4th season at the helm here, 14 years in Philadelphia. A lot of people thought he would just, take a year off, rest or whatever. He said, no way. Couldn't wait to get back into coaching. Had to be the right situation. Comes to Kansas City, solid, steady ownership. The Hunt family has owned this team since its inception as the Dallas Texans in 1960. And Andy has taken the team to the playoffs. They've already clinched a spot this year. And as I mentioned at the top, this team hasn't been to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons in 21 years as you look at the president of the team, Clark Hunt.
Pretty good bloodlines in that family, huh?
Boy, I'll say. Without Lamar Hunt, I don't think there is an American Football League or the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy against the AFC West in the 4 years since he has been here. Against the division. 7-1 against the Raiders, 5-2 against the Chargers. but 2-5 against the Broncos. The Broncos have actually won 5 consecutive games in this stadium.
I tell you what, he's going to love tonight are the details. These blocks by offensive linemen, tight ends, and wide receivers down the field have been absolutely perfect. Just that prior play alone was run to perfection.
From the 25, off play action, Simeon, look out from behind, and he's going to get wrapped up and sacked. D. Ford, number 55, twirling around and pinning him.
Al, the difference is tonight the Kansas City Chiefs corners are playing the way the Denver Broncos corners have played all season long. Terrence Mitchell on the outside is making a difference over there, and when the quarterback simply does not have anybody open, eventually that pass rush is going to get there. That was a coverage sack.
Illegal contact, defense, number 34. A 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
There is no 34. Might maybe Mitchell, 39. Guessing.
Don't know.
By the way, don't want to shortchange Clark Hunt. He is the chairman
With
and
the game
CEO.
clock operator, please reset the game clock to 34 seconds. 34 seconds.
Not the president.
Thank you.
If I know Clark, he won't care.
He doesn't care.
He's happy with the scoreboard right now.
It is Mitchell. So that is the call.
Yep, that was the contact on the double move. It's always the hard thing. The only real thing you can say about Terrence Mitchell so far, a few penalties along the way, but the coverage good. The coverage is good enough. He doesn't need that.
First down from the 29-yard line. A little dump off to Booker. And he gets taken down after a short gain by the cornerback, number 20, Steve Nelson. And that is going to take us into the second stanza. Played 1 quarter in Kansas City, where the Chiefs lead the Broncos 21-7, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages.
We got a battle tonight, a winner take all, ain't nothing like Sunday Night Football.
Country Club Plaza here in Kansas City. Great shops, great restaurants. Tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeVoya, season's greetings to you all on this Christmas night. 2-touchdown lead for Kansas City. And we start here with a 2nd down and 7 with Simeon dumping it off short. And it's caught. That's Jeff Hireman, the tight end, out to the 40 and up for a first down. So updating the AFC playoff picture. New England first round bye. Oakland in the playoffs, but to be determined exactly what's going to happen. We'll explain in a second. Pittsburgh won today. They clinched the North. Houston has clinched the South. At the moment, KC and Miami would be the wild card teams. Denver is still alive, but just barely.
And barely after the first quarter of this game.
243 yards for Kansas City's offense. Now from the 40-yard line, they're going to run a flea flicker here. But the backs all stay back, and it is almost intercepted. Looked way downfield. Whoever went deep was well covered. Jordan Taylor was the intended receiver. Simeon had to throw shorter than longer, incomplete.
Watch these defensive backs. They weren't fooled at all. They're backing up. Even when they see run, keep going. Once they saw Emmanuel Sanders coming down the field, they said, we're not running up to try and play this. Our guys are doing pretty well against the run anyway. And then go up and make a play. Terrence Mitchell.
2nd down and 10 now. Simeon just 5 of his first 14. And for set, gain of 1. So for Denver to get in, what they would have to do is win tonight, go home and beat Oakland next week. New England would have to beat Miami, and Kansas City would have to go to San Diego and beat them. And right now, their first order of business is overcoming a 21-7 deficit. There is John Elway. So you're looking at the reigning champions who might be out. And, of course, the other champion of the other conference, Carolina, is already out. 3rd down and 9. Simeon is chased out. Flag is thrown. And that pass will be caught at the 50-yard line by Sanders, but when the referee throws the flag, you know what it normally amounts to, or the umpire in this particular case. And this is what it normally amounts to. Well, maybe.
Holding, offense number 79. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 3rd down.
Michael Schofield.
That was Tamba Ali sort of making his break, coming through right there. And there's the hold on Michael Schofield. They are going to play Billy Turner some in there, number 70 at that guard position, because they are obviously concerned about what happened to him last time when Chris Jones got the better of Schofield.
So instead of what would have been a 1st down, you've got a 3rd and 19. Have to get to the 50-yard line to convert. A little dump off into traffic, and that's caught by Devontae Booker, but he's 9 yards shy of the 1st down. Stopped there by Poe. And we talked about Denver's problems this year, mainly 3rd down and red zone, and that is the case at least in 3rd down tonight, 1 out of 5.
Yeah, I really like that guy Tyreek Hill, but I also really like what I'm seeing out of the defensive backs of the Kansas City Chiefs. If they upgrade, remember it was Philip Gaines who really took the brunt of a lot of those deep balls. He's not in, Terrence Mitchell in. This is a much better secondary tonight than we saw that night.
Gaines was torched mainly by Sanders in Denver. It's a wobbly kick, but it goes to the sideline, which is a good place to put it when you got Hill back there. And it bounds out of bounds at about the 20, and we check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, it is the giving season, and Von Miller gifted every player in the AFC West with custom bottles of wine and a card reading, "Appreciate those who have helped you get this far and start working toward your next childhood dream. Thank you for helping to make our game great." Now, Alex Smith told us he thought the gift was pretty cool, saying, "I've taken enough licks from him that I could use a bottle."
Well, do you think he had a wine taster?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I'm getting a bottle of wine from Von Miller, and I'm playing for the other team
on game week. Let me think about this. Over here, trainer.
From the 20-yard line, Smith starts from the gun. Good protection. Now it begins to break down a little bit, and the pass is caught for a 9-yard gain by Travis Kelce. So Smith has completed 5 passes tonight. And Kelce again here with another catch.
On the outside, Eric Fisher is just trying to hang on sometimes against DeMarcus Ware, and that's what you have to do. Because you have a quarterback that's going to get the ball out of his hands quickly, it's okay with that kind of a block. And now the other thing you've got to say is TJ Ward not being in here tonight is making a difference. They are wearing him out with Travis Kelce.
Ward, among other things, would not only cover him, but leads the team by a lot in tackles. Smith fakes, throws, caught, 1st down, and a lot more down the sideline goes Spencer Ware. And they're going to rule him out at about the 49-yard line.
Al, that's one of the better 10-yard throws I've seen in a while. DeMarcus Ware smells this one out the entire way, and he is going to turn and just peel back here, and you go, okay, there's nowhere to throw the ball. But Alex Smith just sort of throws the lollipop over the top and comes up with a big play. Nicely done that time by Alex Smith.
First pass caught by somebody not named Kelce tonight. And he steps right out of bounds at that spot, so they put it at the 49 on 1st down. And they hand it off here to Spencer Ware going through the middle. So for years you had Jamal Charles as your primary running back, and he'd been injured and he was hurt this year, and he came back and he played 3 games, so they had to find somebody else to carry the load. It turns out to be the 3rd-year guy who was signed as a free agent out of LSU, and he's done a nice job. He's closing in, as we mentioned before. He'll be close to 1,000 yards this season.
High school quarterback and a good one. Ran a lot of option, can throw the football, and sort of became a man, as he put it, running the ball down at LSU. Had to learn that running back position.
That's 895 yards right now in the season. And that pass is caught and taken out of bounds is Harris. And they're going to rule it a completion, and then out of bounds as he lost it.
Ruling on the field is a completed pass with a fumble out of bounds. 3rd down.
Good play here by Todd Davis to punch this thing out. Let's see, did he have control, have it tucked away? Yeah, I think you've got to say he was turning the corner. Although I'm never quite sure.
These days?
No, never quite sure. Not going to fight it.
Challengeable if Kubiak wanted to go in that direction, but he doesn't. And it's 3rd down and 2 from the 43-yard line. And over the middle, that pass is caught, and he goes right back to Demetrius Harris, who'll be the number 2 tight end, first down Kansas City, 3rd-year guy out of Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Anytime you rush 5 guys, what does that mean, Al? It means man-to-man coverage. They're spread out. Alex Smith is just going to catch it and throw it to the first guy that he sees open. So now what does that do to Wade Phillips? It makes you more inclined to not bring pressure, right? And leave some people in the middle, maybe to pick up those crossing routes. That can be a frustrating style of offense, especially when you're playing against a team with the lead.
9.5 minutes left in the half. 4-man rush. Smith looked like he was ready to run, and then he just deposits it out of bounds. And a flag is down on the play.
Foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was outside the pocket.
All right. Pick up the flag. It'll be 2nd down.
You know what's interesting is that Alex Smith, he was one of the best running quarterbacks in all of football.
This 5-yard penalty will result an automatic first down.
And the other penalty was for holding on Todd Davis, first down.
Let's take a look at this. Here's Davis right here. And if he's going to hold Travis Kelce, I say okay. Okay, I say okay. It's a good idea. Nobody's been able to cover him, so that's one way to take him out. You know, they really missed the coverage ability of Brandon Marshall. Todd Davis, excellent against the run. Corey Nelson, excellent against the pass. Brandon Marshall, excellent against both.
And Marshall and Ward, 2 of their obviously key guys, as Smith throws. And that's his first really errant throw of the night. Intended for a Ware. He's completed 8 of 10 for 148 yards to this point.
Yeah, and the one thing about Spencer Ware, and there's Brandon Marshall over there on the outside and dealing with that injury of his, the hamstring, and he would love to have him back in there. Of course, that was Danny Trevathan no longer there. Brandon Marshall, they were such great partners on the inside, but when you win a world championship, we've seen it before, right? You get paid by somebody, and sometimes they break up the band.
2nd down and 10, play clock at 1. And that pass is incomplete, intended for Tyreek Hill, who will always draw a crowd. It'll be 3rd and 10. Hill had that hat trick that night in Denver, the Sunday night game, where he scored on a kickoff return following a free kick, a run, and a reception. Apart from that, he didn't do much. 3rd and 10.
That 3-by-1 set with the tight end one-on-one to the top of the screen. Travis Kelce.
Smith fires. That's caught. 22-yard line. Chris Conley. That's his first grab of the night. He needs some time to get up. And it's going to be 4th down and 4. So the Kansas City field goal unit will come in.
Yeah, you just look over there at Trevor Siemian and Gary Kubiak and you go, where's it going to come from? And, you know, then I think you start to say, is it going to come from somewhere else next year, right? So they've got all these options. Paxton Lynch comes in as the rookie. Trevor Siemian, he's been pretty good. But John Elway usually isn't into pretty good anything.
No. Absolutely not. Of course, you let Brock Osweiler out the door, went to Houston. He's now on the bench. Here's Santos for a 39-yard field goal attempt, and that one is no good. Wide to the left. So Denver gets it back, trailing by 14. 8.5 to go in the half. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by GE. We imagine a better world, then make it real. By Macy's. by the 2017 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. And by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And Merry Christmas from the men and women of our crew. We go around the country, crisscross it back and forth for 4 months. They are spectacular. You know, not a fun time to be away from their families on Christmas, but everybody in fine fettle, and season's greetings from our crew to everybody at home. Simeon throws, caught. That's a first down, 45-yard line. As Hireman, the tight end, third grab for him tonight. First down. We go back to 4 weeks ago, Chris.
Yeah, in the first meeting, it was all sort of passing to the left side. Look at those quarterback ratings over there. 9 yards and less, over 100, 10 to 19, and 109. Deep down the field, even better. A perfect quarterback rating. And so far tonight, it has been Steven Nelson over here on regular down and distance, number 20. He's done a great job on Emmanuel Sanders tonight. And then when they get into the nickel situations, Terrence Mitchell has been that third ace in the hole.
From the 45 now, play action, buys some time, sets up a screen. And that's Booker, who's able to escape a tackle in the backfield and take the ball to the Kansas City 34-yard line. Devontae Booker. First down, halfway through the quarter, 21-yard gain.
Watch Matt Paradis, the center, just stay on his guy. He is one of the more athletic centers in football. That is such a hard block to make, and he is 10 yards down the field, still maintaining contact, and the Denver Broncos needed that play right there. Paradis barely practices anymore. He's got such bad hips. When he comes out in the game, one of the absolute best.
Booker, the third leading receiver, back of the two stud wideouts. As Simeon throws for one of those studs, but he's double covered. That's Emmanuel Sanders. Incomplete. D Ford put the pressure on. That time before the throw, it's second down and 10.
You know, you have seen, I think, a little bit of an evolution in the way that Marcus Peters plays. You know, he's one of those big risk takers. He gets a lot of interceptions. But I've also seen a little more patience out of him now. He gave up a lot of big plays. He made a lot of big plays. But there is the ace on this defensive backfield. He's the one most teams try to avoid.
Named to the Pro Bowl in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. 4-man rush. Simeon fires over the middle, and it's almost picked off. Ron Parker, the safety, read it beautifully, but couldn't hold on. Third down and 10.
Ron Parker with a spectacular interception a week ago, and he read the eyes all the way. Watch him jump right in front and almost had that one from Demaryius Thomas.
Thomas got a hand on it.
This is an aggressive defensive backfield right now. We haven't even talked about Eric Berry, and here's a guy that probably in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
And about as good a Christmas story. 2 years ago, he's fighting lymphoma. Now he's going to the Pro Bowl. Third and 10. Simeon fires, incomplete. Hireman, the tight end, he was covered on the outside by Sorensen. So it's 4th and 10.
Al, I'm no coach, but I'm just going to give you my opinion of this, okay?
Yep.
I think that Denver and Gary Kubiak, who stays with the run better than anybody, can still stay with the run. This game is within reach. And because of some of the mixing and matching they're doing at the linebacker position, it's not a game that you have to go drop back with a young quarterback like Trevor Siemian already.
Well, it's 4th and 10. He's going to opt for a 52-yard field goal attempt. Of course, the downside is if he misses it, KC gets the ball near midfield, but McManus, one of the best in the league, bangs it through. From 52, 6:38 to go in the half, 21-10, Chiefs. Well, next Sunday, the National Hockey League has been around for 100 years. The Centennial Classic coming up. And then the Winter Classic next Monday. The second, it's the Blackhawks and the Blues meeting outdoor at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Mr. Bob Costas will be there hosting it. Mike Emmerich and the gang to call it. Chicago and St. Louis. Touchback here. Kansas City will take it to the 25. So look at Hill this season. 6 receiving touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, including 1 tonight. 1 punt return, one kickoff return. That came in the game against Denver. And that's pretty good company. Bobby Mitchell back in 58 with the Skins. Gale Sayers in 65. The other rookies to accomplish that in a single season. Anytime you're on a panel with guys like that, you know you've done something pretty special.
You know, and they clocked him earlier this year going 22 miles an hour. That's pretty remarkable.
Yep. Like I said, that's Kayvon Webster. I think I mentioned Mitchell, who went to the Redskins eventually. He was with the Browns at that particular point. And Wolf going back to the locker room back after this. Of course, a sight that we always hate to see. That's Kayvon Webster, who's been a special teams maven for the Denver Broncos. He took a shot here, and here's what happened.
Yep, and you're going to get the hit right there from linebacker Terrence Smith, and Webster just never saw it coming. And if you've ever chased kicks before, you understand that the one you never see is the most frightening, and there's some of his mates over there. And
yep, back to KC in 30 seconds. Well, that's a much happier sight. Before we went to commercial, as they were ready to take him off in a car, they were able to sit him up and now stand him up. Man who leveled him right there, I'm sure very concerned about the condition of one Kayvon Webster. So Broncos, a war of attrition. Ward and Marshall were already out. We saw Wolf going back to the locker room. Webster, a defensive back, but really earns his money on special teams. And at least they're able to sit him up and ride him back to the locker room. You're right. Never saw it coming, right, Chris? I mean, it's just one of those things where
it happens. You know, and let's just say in defense of Terrence Smith, you're sort of trained to line them up down the middle because they make moves, and you got to start down the middle. And if the guy never sees you, sometimes you get those kinds of shots. And I'm sure that Terrence Smith probably feels worse than anybody out here. But this Kansas City crowd, they're great football fans. They cheered the minute they set him up a little bit when he stood up, and they get it.
Yep,
they get it.
So we'll check on the condition. Michelle, I'm sure we'll have an update for us on Wolf and on Webster shortly. And with 6:38, it begins to rain again. It's been raining off and on, front moving through, but it hasn't been nearly as windy as they had predicted. 21-10 Kansas City. And they start from the 25-yard line. And they give it to Hill, Tyreek Hill out of the backfield. Spinning and darting and picks up 5 yards up to the 30-yard line, taken down by the outside linebacker, Shane Ray.
Yeah, same exact play that they scored on earlier. Tyreek Hill going to get all the way in the hole, but this time it was Chris Harris who came up and basically took out the tight end, Travis Kelce, and didn't allow that one to get out around the edge in the same way.
Hill has run for 100 yards tonight. Of course, he had 70 on the one run. And Kansas City already 300 yards of total offense. And we'll stay at 302 right now as Travis Kelce can't make the catch. Von Miller put the pressure on. Back-to-back games now, only rookies with 60-yard or more TD runs in consecutive games. You go to Lenny Moore, the great old Baltimore Colt. He did it back in 1956.
Yeah, I was talking to offensive coordinator Brad Childress, and I said, you know, it just seems like you guys could get the ball to Tyreek Hill a little bit more. He said, Chris, trust me, in this game, you're going to see him with the ball in his hands a whole lot. Don't worry about it. I said, okay.
3rd and 5. Smith throws. Kelce looks for the first down. So I was just thinking, Chris, you know the last time that the Denver Broncos gave up more than 300 yards in a half? I mean, this is the #2 defense in the league. I am being told by a little birdie 1981, they were playing the Bengals.
Of course.
You scored a touchdown.
Really?
Yes, you did.
I like that graphic a lot better.
Yeah, I knew you did. So I brought it up.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
$25. Thank you. From the 38-yard line. Through the middle goes Spencer Ware to the 41.
You know, one of the guys that I think has really played so much better this season is Shane Ray. He comes in with 7 sacks on the season. And like Von Miller, he's a guy, watch him just kind of work his way through this traffic over here. But I'm sure working alongside Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware and some of these great outside linebackers has really helped his game, really made a difference in the last few weeks.
Motion to the outside, fake it there, and give it to Spencer Ware. And that sets up a 3rd down and short.
I tell you, the other storyline that we have to talk about a little bit in this game, Al, is the play of these offensive linemen. I mean, it really was the pressure and the sacks on Alex Smith in that first game that made such a huge difference in this one. And so far, Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz and little help from the tight ends out there, they have done a pretty good job. Alex Smith getting the ball out of his hands.
Look at that. They kept Smith clean. Came in 23rd in the league in rushing, but you never know it after tonight. Ware to the outside, around the corner, flag is thrown. So it would be a 1st down. We'll come back because it's going to be an offensive holding call.
Holding, offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty and repeat 1st down.
That's Ja Reed, who they had brought in as a 6th lineman on that play.
Yeah, the extra offensive lineman is going to try and get it out here and get his hands on Von Miller. Unfortunately, he did get his hands on Von Miller.
Pretty easy one to call. Now you've got Sylvester Williams, who is the injured Bronco, as we said, minus Ward and Marshall and Wolf.
Yeah,
and Webster already.
And no Malik Jackson, of course, in free agency. And, you know, this was a pretty stout run defense a season ago. And you take some of those guys out of the mix. Malik Jackson and Derek Wolf together were tremendous. And, of course, Sylvester Williams. And then you lose one of your linebackers to free agency. And then Brandon Marshall ends up hurting his hamstring. So you're at that war of attrition time of year, where a lot of times it's how many healthy bodies do you have left.
Some odd numbers with his Denver defense this year. They're 2nd in the league overall, 4th in allowing points. That's really good. 1st against the pass, that's terrific, but 29th against the run. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, the news on Kayvon Webster is that he was taken back to the locker room and walked into the locker room under his own power. He is in the concussion protocol. Derek Wolf, we saw go back as well. He is back there questionable with that neck injury that's been bothering him, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And so mixing and matching and bringing in 2nd line guys all over the place. Two-deep safety look here on 3rd down and 11. Smith under pressure throws, and that's caught and wrapped up. Talib is able to take care of Charkandrick West, and that'll make it 4th down. So Colquitt comes in to punt. This will be the first Chiefs punt of the night. Denver's already punted 4 times, and Denver will conserve some of the clock here since they'll get the ball back as they take their first timeout. So it's been announced that in the flex world that we live in, we have Green Bay and Detroit on Sunday Night Football, and that will wrap up the entire season. And what a way to do it. No matter what happens with the Lions tomorrow night in their game with the Cowboys, the winner of that game next Sunday night will win the NFC North. And of course that would mean a home game. The loser could be out, but the Lions and the Packers in a beauty next Sunday night from Motown. From the 17-yard line, making the fair catch there is Khalif Raymond with 3:21.
Santa Claus looks like he has a white beard, a red hat, red jacket, and he's addicted to cookies.
Hudson, have you been naughty or nice this year?
Nice. And nice.
Have you been nice?
No.
No?
My favorite part about Christmas is getting presents.
For Christmas this year, I want the Chiefs to make the playoffs.
Of course.
I told you about those bloodlines.
Well, he got it because the Christmas present was delivered today when Pittsburgh beat Baltimore. The Chiefs got into the playoffs. So there was young Mr. Hunt's Christmas present. The pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Poe got his hands on it.
There we go. Big Dontari Poe right there, who, as long as his back is feeling okay, he usually can get a little pressure in that pass rush as well. 1.5 sacks on the year, but 7 hits on quarterbacks this season, which is the most on Kansas City. So you don't always expect your nose tackle to be able to get that kind of pressure.
Simeon is 8 for 21. Completes this one to Thomas, so Thomas finally gets into the game. 27-yard line in the manner of at least winding up on the board here. Thomas has caught only 2 tonight for 15 yards.
Yeah, and that's how good the corner play has been on the outside. You have 2 1,000-yard receivers on either side, and they have not been involved in the story really whatsoever. Demaryius Thomas over 1,000, Emmanuel Sanders over 1,000. Pretty good stuff.
Pretty key second quarter, 3rd down coming up here, because if they stop him, Denver's going to get the ball back with a ton of time and all their timeouts. 2.5 to go, 3rd and 1. They try it on the ground, not even close. Booker gets wrapped up for about a 3-yard loss. D. Ford is right there. Now KC can think about taking their timeouts.
D. Ford's too fast for this. You're going to leave him unblocked. He is going to catch this play. You know, it's one of those things you're always tempted. If you can leave that far side unblocked, you can add an extra blocker, but then you take that lateral jump step from Devontae Booker, and no way.
And that kick, Hill backs up, escapes for the moment, and is taken out of bounds at the 26-yard line. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning, and that's Hill who is slow in getting back up. Coming up on the Toyota halftime, the Steelers beat the Ravens in the final seconds to win the AFC North. Packers Lions in the NFC North title game next Sunday night. Complete AFC and NFC playoff pictures coming up at halftime. D. Ford once again channels his inner Van Cliburn.
We should just take him with us on the road.
Why not? Bring him to Detroit next week.
There you go.
1:49 clock. Stopping 11 seconds after the 2-minute warning after the punt return. And this is West taking it up to the 28-yard line. KC has all of its timeouts. So no need to necessarily hurry at this particular point as they look to pick up the 1st down. Sylvester Williams, you saw him come off moments ago. He is back in the game. Smith, oh, it's almost picked off by Roby. Macklin cutting inside, and Roby went to the outside, and that would have been a big pick. 3rd down and 8.
He's had a pick 6 this year, and Roby was all over this when Macklin coming off of his best game of the year as far as yardage is concerned, and that would have been an interesting way to go into the locker room right there, 21-17. I'm all for spreading it around, but when you get somebody who's as hot as Travis Kelce is in this game and Tyreek Hill, you know, already Kelce's 6 for 123, over 1,000 yards this year.
And Roby's had 2 interceptions, and both were pick 6s, and both will run back 51 yards. And now that hard count, and they're going to stop this because Tony Corrente will tell us, is it a false start or unabated to the quarterback? A little smile from Tony.
False start, offense, number 11, with the hand movement. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
One thing you cannot do is flinch your hands. That is, you've got to be very still as the quarterback, and give Alex Smith a little credit there, trying to pick up a cheap 5 yards, but now basically what they've done is essentially, if the Broncos can make a stop, give them one more shot at the end zone.
And it's a 3rd down and 13.
Which is not their forte.
They keep it on the ground, draw, so now Denver has stopped them. They can take the timeout. 4th down. Miller makes the tackle. Denver takes the timeout. Important drive coming up because Kansas City's going to get the ball to start the second half.
Khalil Mack, Von Miller, guys that are great pass rushers that also play the run. That's the reason, in my opinion, those two guys, Aaron Donald, are kind of the top candidates for Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Khalif Raymond drops back to receive this punt from Colquitt.
And this guy may be the fastest guy on the Denver Broncos team. So as it's starting to rain a little bit again here, if there is a little magic to be had out of the Broncos special teams, it may well be Khalif Raymond.
Yeah, well, Jordan Norwood has been their main guy, but he's had fumbling issues, so they go for Raymond, who's run back 6 of them this year. But he won't have a chance to run this one back because it will skip out of bounds inside the 35-yard line.
There's Emmanuel Sanders, who destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs the first time around. Tonight, they've got number 20, Steven Nelson, on him, and he's done a tremendous job. And anytime Sanders goes down the field, they've got at least 4 eyeballs on him. Maybe a little tug, a little hug as they go along. Emmanuel Sanders didn't like it much. But for Steven Nelson, a job well done here in this first half.
No catches. They've only gone to him twice. Forsett in the backfield with Simeon. Straight drop. Avoids the sack, fires into traffic, caught, 49-yard line. It's Norwood, but a flag is down. So Norwood, for the moment, would have a first down. Flag down in the offensive backfield.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 95 with a forearm to the quarterback well after the play was over. This 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play and an automatic first down.
That's Chris Jones, and that is big. It takes it from the 50 down to the 35.
There he is right there, and you're going to see it's a no-brainer. Nice job by Russell Okung out there. And then the shot after it's all said and done. Maybe in college. I don't even think in college you get away with that one. Well, doesn't it feel like Kansas City has so dominated this game, and if they could come away with points here, basically a one-score game going in at that.
They have 328 yards to Denver's 134. So that's totally tilted Kansas City's way, but Denver has 1 timeout, 63 seconds. Put pressure on Simeon, but you've got a whistle before the play.
False start, offense number 71. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
And that's Donald Stevenson.
Yeah, and it's tough on those offensive linemen. Anytime the outside pass rusher that he's keeping his eye on, in that case D. Ford, flinched, doesn't cross the line of scrimmage, as an offensive lineman, you know you've got to get out there to have any chance against D. Ford. They're helping him a little bit tonight by leaving the tight end over on that side.
They put those 3 more seconds back on the clock. At least there was no play. So you're back to 103. On a 1st and 15. Of course, the crowd gets really raucous in these situations. Blitz coming. Pass into traffic, and Thomas couldn't handle it. A flag is thrown. It was almost picked off. He had a near reception, a near interception, and a penalty.
It's going to be an interesting call. Very. Hesitation and go, and looked like Terrence Mitchell kind of tripped over Demaryius Thomas. Take a look at this on the outside. Mitchell's following, and there was just
there are fouls against both teams that will offset. Holding, defense number 21. Illegal formation, offense number 71. By rule, these penalties will offset and replay first down.
It's Stevenson with back-to-back penalties, a false start and part of an illegal formation.
Well, the other thing you do when you're facing a great pass rusher is get another yard off the ball, and this officiating crew wouldn't let him do it.
Raining, wind picking up a little bit. Temperature is 51. First and 15.
Interesting, they've been playing Chris Jones a lot out here at defensive end on the edge.
Simeon sliding and gets it away, barely. D Ford coming around the end, number 55, puts the pressure on. It'll be second down and 15 for Denver.
Yeah, this has been a rough go here when you have to try and handle D Ford on the outside. And basically that breaks down what you want to do as far as the fundamentals. You kind of turn and run to try and catch up to him between D Ford and Chris Jones on the outside. Tough night for these tackles, and now they just need to try and get it back in field goal range here.
Got their two wideouts, Sanders and Thomas, both sent to the left. They go 5 wide.
Here comes the blitz.
Simeon to the right side. That's caught. Gain of 5. Benny Fowler makes his first grab of the night. Kenneth Acker makes the tackle. Clock continues to roll. It's third down and 10.
So they stay spread, which means it's completely on Trevor Simeon to catch it and throw it. Not much time now.
Clock down to 30. And Kansas City takes a timeout.
Kansas City, they're first. A 30-second timeout.
So Denver still has one. You have a half minute. And right now, would you be in field goal range? Yeah, for McManus. Yep. 53 yards. And there he is warming up. They're looking for 7, not 3.
Yeah, and you've got DBs everywhere here. So basically they're going to be able to cover that up. And I just wonder if Andy Reid was thinking, okay, they're probably going to want to make one play here again to get it in field goal range and just remind his guys this isn't all about defending the end zone. Let's defend and make this another 53-yard kick here.
Again, not to beat the dead horse, we're talking about third down. It's been a big problem all year. They're 1 out of 7 tonight. Third and long here. Third and 10 from the 35-yard line. Delayed blitz. Simeon going deep, and he throws that one out of bounds. Khalif Raymond, the speedy one. And Mitchell covering him, and now you got a fourth down and 10. Do they bring McManus in here?
Yeah, the reason they called the timeout, I think Bob Sutton wanted to set this up. He's bringing pressure from all over this left side here to try and force Trevor Simeon to get the ball out of his hand quickly and set up that long field goal attempt. Did not want to give up the short, quick one to make this field goal easier.
This will be a 53-yard attempt. He made one right down the middle from 52. He has the leg. Now you got a fake. Now you got McManus running to the outside. Can he pick up the first down? No. Tackled to the 29-yard line by Eric Murray. So Denver can't even pick up the 3. In all likelihood, they'll go into the locker room down by 11. Casey has the ball with 17 seconds left.
I think he's right here. I could be wrong, but that is Eric Murray, who is the best of the special teams players. This is a guy that has made play after play on special teams for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. And I'll just say this, Brandon McManus is not Tyreek Hill. It looked like he had a little edge. And he was not going to outrun Eric Murray, who's been fantastic this year.
Closer to Benny Hill.
That's good.
That's all right. It's not great.
It's Christmas.
Thanks. Great spirit. So Kansas City comes up. Will they throw deep once? Well, we've got the 2 timeouts. We got 17 seconds. To the outside, caught there by Albert Wilson. He goes out of bounds. It only took 4 seconds. It's 13 seconds remaining in the half.
You know what's going to be really interesting for the second half of this game now? Andy Reid sort of got criticized for maybe being a little conservative in the second half by his own guy, Travis Kelce. But this is the way the Chiefs play. You know, they get out, they have a lead, you know, they hold on to it. He doesn't lose all that often. What is he, 20-4, something like that over the past so many games.
Yep.
And, you know, but so now they're going to take a knee here. So we'll see how aggressive they are in the second half.
Take a knee to end the half. So they go to the locker room. Kansas City jumped out to a quick 14-0 lead. It's 21-10 as we come to the half. And we can tell you coming up next to the halftime after these messages from your NBC station.
Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Chevrolet.
Merry Christmas from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Smith's going to keep it himself. Around the outside, he goes for the touchdown. Tyreek Hill down the sideline. Can they catch him? No, they cannot. He's done it again. And going through the middle, Forsett gets into the end zone. Kelce is off. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row.
Start of the third quarter, halftime, it's 21-10. Kansas City, and they will get the ball as we start the second half. Alex Smith, 168 yards, a TD, and 1 pick. Tyreek Hill had those 4 carries for 102 yards. And Kelce, his 6th game with 100 or more receiving yards, which sets an NFL record by a tight end in a season. And that Bronco defense had not allowed 300 or more yards in the first half since 1981. Kelce tying a record, so he'll have a chance to establish it by himself next week when they go to San Diego. Been raining off and on, raining fairly hard right now as we start the second half. McManus to kick off, and DeAnthony Thomas, not Hill, is back to receive. Down in the end zone. KC has it at the 25, and we go to Michelle.
All right, Al. Well, Gary Kubiak told me at halftime that was as bad a half of football as his defense has played all season, and said, but we're only down 11. We just got to keep playing aggressively. Meanwhile, they'll be without defensive end Derek Wolfe, who is out with that neck injury. As for Andy Reid, he was really unhappy about the penalties. Despite leading, he said, too many penalties took us out of field position that we wanted. He wants his team to stay disciplined here in the second half, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And he knows all too well they had that 14-0 lead last week and wound up losing the game. They don't want to repeat that tonight, obviously, as they take over at the 25-yard line. Split Kelce out to the left. Have Spencer Ware in the backfield. Already the play clock is down to 1 as they barely get the play away, and it's caught for a 6-yard gain by the number 2 tight end, Demetrius Harris. Hill took a shot on his knee on the last punt return while he was shaken up, and maybe that's the reason he is not in. Will Parks came in there and put his helmet right on that right knee. And there he is over on the sideline.
You know, I always think about Parcells and Dave Meggett. You know, you want to give him to the ball every single time, but you want to make sure he makes it to the playoffs too, right?
For sure. As this is Ware, who may have chugged his way to a first down. Yeah, the fans want to see those guys like Meggett was and like Hill. They want to see them on every play.
Yeah, and with good reason. So do we. They're exciting to watch. But it's also a good thing if you can go back in there and establish a run and pound it a little bit. Then you get some of those flashy plays going to the outside again. That time, nice job inside by Laurent Duvernay-Tardif.
Very nice.
Practice.
The 35. A first down. Smith, that short drop, flares it out, and that's Ware, and he will get taken down by Shaq Barrett. in a couple.
We talked about Alex Smith in that quick passing game. You'll see it here. Right around 2 seconds, even faster than what he's been averaging this season. And what does that do for you? As an offensive tackle, Eric Fisher in this case, allows you to be more aggressive. See him jump out there and get on him. Same thing with Mitchell Schwartz on the other side. You know all you've got to do is hit him once, and Alex Smith is going to get it out. As long as you don't cleanly miss, you're going to see Alex Smith get the football out of his hands.
Yeah, he was sacked 6 times by the Broncos in that game a month ago. Well, play action, and they read that perfectly, do the Broncos. Von Miller put the pressure on, and then Chris Harris was right there to take care of the receiver Macklin. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Ooh, that was a shot right there. Watch Von Miller coming right off the edge over here on this side. And when you're bootlegging, you are free game. There are different rules that apply as you're coming out there. And you saw Von Miller just drop Alex Smith. You'll remember that one. Snap that head back, and of course he had some issues with sort of concussions earlier this year.
Missed the start at Jacksonville. You got Hill, number 10. He's back in the game on the 3rd down and 10. Smith fires, and that'll be caught up at the 40-yard line by Macklin, but well short of the 1st down. So good start for the Denver defense.
I'll tell you, the other thing I remember Alex Smith saying is that I went back and I watched the film, and I had one target to Travis Kelce in the second half, and he said after watching the film he was open a lot more than that. I have to be trained myself to force the ball in there sometimes because he's so good.
Kelce with those 6 catches for 123. Colquitt's kick bounces at the 22 and it keeps on rolling, and then it's covered up at the 8-yard line. Or is it? Is it? You got Raymond who comes up with it. Raymond came up, he couldn't make the catch, then he let it bounce, then he wanted to make sure at least he stopped it from rolling another 5 or 6 yards. Recovers it himself.
This is my husband Corey Nelson and our daughter Phoenix Nelson. We would just like to wish you a happy holidays from our family to yours.
And a Merry Christmas. Hi, I'm Jordan Norwood from the Denver Broncos, and this is my beautiful wife Aaliyah and my daughter Franny. And from my family to yours, we'd like to say Happy Holidays.
And we're happy that you've spent part of your Christmas with us as we bring in the dessert. Final low. Yeah, the last of 2 games. The first one was a beauty today in Pittsburgh. Not a beauty if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, as Steelers won a thriller to clinch the AFC North and eliminate the Ravens from the playoffs. A lot at stake as Denver starts this drive from its own 7-yard line. And Simeon throws into traffic, and it's incomplete. Intended for Devontae Booker again. If you had picked us up late, just the playoff situation here. Kansas City got into the playoffs when Pittsburgh won. They still have a chance to win the division if they win tonight, win in San Diego next week, and Oakland loses to Denver. That would get Casey the title. Denver needs to win tonight, need to win next Sunday against Oakland, need Miami to lose to New England, and need Kansas City to beat San Diego, and they would get in. Got it? Up to the 11th, Devontae Booker for a 3-yard gain.
Heck of a play right here by Ramik Wilson. We talked about Derek Johnson being out of the game, but anytime you can come up and go through an offensive lineman like Michael Schofield and still make a hit like that, pretty impressive. And now the pressure really on Trevor Siemian to make plays out of his own end, and this crowd is not going to make it easy.
Siemian is 11 out of 27 tonight. 1 for 8 on third are the Denver Broncos, and that is caught along the sideline by Emmanuel Sanders. Big time catch at a most opportune moment, all the way out to the 36-yard line.
It's one of the few times they've actually gone just straight one-on-one coverage down the field with anybody on Sanders. That time Terrence Mitchell was close, but nothing. He holds on to the ball. Absolutely nice catch.
Longest play of the night for the Broncos. Gain of 26 from the 37 now. On a boot to the outside, and pressure was on. Receiver was covered. D Ford put the heat on, 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, for so many years, we've seen the athleticism on the outside, Justin Houston, Tamba Ali, and now it's D Ford who is in a position here to make these kinds of plays. You come out on the bootleg, you're going to have one quick look, and then you're going to get number 55 staring you right in the eye.
But still no sacks in the game for either team. There were 11 total sacks the last time they met in Denver. Flag is thrown here, and now you got Booker picking up about 9, and we'll get Tony Correnti to make the call.
I'll tell you, Eric Berry makes more plays around the field. He's a blur, and he actually changed positions. Used to be more of that box safety, down playing the run. Now he's back in center field and pick sixes.
Offside, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. Denver has accepted this 5-yard penalty and repeat, 2nd down.
Yeah, had they taken the play, it would have been 3rd down and 1. Now it's 2nd and 5. Justin Houston missing him. Of course, we saw Derek Johnson ripping Achilles a couple of weeks ago on a Thursday night. Denver has its own issues with guys sidelined tonight before and during the game.
They should be staying with the run when they're coming up with this style of defense.
2nd and 5. We've got a false start here. You can see the movement along that offensive front. Is that Stevenson again? Who used to play here.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Sure is.
It gets tough, you know. The crowd gets going. There he is right there.
He's used to hearing the crowd here, but when he's on offense, he played for the Chiefs. Came over as a free agent in the offseason.
I would not be afraid to run some quarterback draws, go empty formation. They're spreading everybody out in court coverage with 2 deep safeties. It's the perfect opportunity if you're willing to run your quarterback.
2nd and 10. Set up a screen, and that'll go nowhere. Chiefs is just sniffing that out perfectly. Raheem Nunez-Roches was right there to stop him. That's a loss of 4 and makes it 3rd down and 14 for Kubiak's next call here.
Yeah, and you're kind of playing into their hands. They've got Daniel Sorensen in there at the linebacker position as safety. And when you throw any kind of pass, he was the one that got there first and set it up for Nunez-Roches. But now what looked like it was going to be very short yardage, here we go again. Now the pressure's back on Simeon.
That's their whole 3rd down story tonight. They keep winding up in 3rd and long. 3rd and 14 here. Simeon surveying, and then has that one batted at the line of scrimmage.
It's the old tuck rule that's not a tuck rule anymore.
Formerly known as.
Yeah. He tried to hold on to it, and probably a good thing that he did. I think he was trying to squeeze it into double coverage right down the middle and said, no.
Yeah.
But at least they got it off their own goal line back there, flipped the field. But here we go again, punting at the number 10.
Well, that big reception by Sanders. Now you got Hill back there, ready to run it back. Fields at the 16-yard line. Can he get around the outside? Not really. Nice coverage job by Denver. 8:23 left in the 3rd. KC by 11. It is awards season. That means Jimmy Fallon will spring into action. The Golden Globe Awards. You'll see it on Sunday, January the 8th, live right here on the National Broadcasting Company. Kansas City, Missouri. On this Sunday night, Christmas night. Eric Berry over on the bench. Kansas City offense out on the field. Empty the backfield. Hill in motion to the left. Smith rolling the other way. Will take off. And a nice run out to the 43. You know, coming into the game, Smith is a guy who ran for almost 500 yards last season. That one is good for 24. He ran for a touchdown earlier. He's run for 33 yards tonight. Longest run of the season for him, but coming into the game, he had run for about 60 yards or so.
Yeah, if you think he looked fast, he is fast. He came out running about a 4.5, and I think those concussions earlier in the year sort of slowed him down a bit, maybe running the football, but he certainly is capable of making big plays like that.
Yeah, that counts tonight. He's up to 100 for the season with 33 in this game. Now you got Hill, and that's a nice tackle. Coming up to make the stop there is Darian Stewart.
Now they've changed how they're playing this a little bit on the back end now for the Denver Broncos. Instead of putting all the pressure on the end of the line of scrimmage, they're bringing Darian Stewart up a little closer, let him deal in the open field with Tyreek Hill.
So Hill was at 100 yards. He loses one there. He's back down to double figures. In there, hits Kelsey, and away he goes into Bronco territory to the 41-yard line. Tackle there by Simmons. He is a horse, as Keith Jackson would say, a horse and a half.
Al, you ever seen a tight end accelerate like this? Watch at the moment this catch is made. First of all, a great move, but then the ability to run past the next safety. I mean, that's what you see wide receivers do in the open field. But Kelsey has done that time after time here tonight. Boy, he is serious about the idea. He wants the ball in the second half.
7 catches, 140 yards. So 20 per. There's a little shovel going to the other tight end, Demetrius Harris. Of about 6, second and 4.
Now there's the next step in the phase of that read option. So now you start to bring down the safety to play the outside. So what do you end up doing now? Let's fake it, fake the run, and we'll do a little shovel pass there and get it back inside. So one of those plays you see a lot in college, not so much in the NFL because they don't like to run their quarterback as much, but sure is tough to defend.
Second and 4. And the ball off to Ware to the 36-yard line. And third down and 3 with 5.5 to go in the third.
Watch Von Miller here make this tackle with his outside arm. That's pretty amazing. Come up there and just his backside arm. I don't know if he grabbed a towel or what he did, but that's a strong man.
Yeah. Good play by the perennial Pro Bowler, Super Bowl MVP last year. What a day he had. Third and 3. Smith under pressure throws, and that's caught. Does he have the first down? It looks like he will. Kelsey making the catch, a little slow in a rising, but he picks up enough for a Kansas City first down.
You're trying to go man coverage. You're trying to bring people engaged in it. But what they've done here tonight with the fact that they've been able to play so well with Kelsey inside is they basically eliminated the 2 best players in the secondary. I mean, I can't remember talking about Aqib Talib and Chris Harris. Those 2 guys are ranked 1-2 as far as I'm concerned, cornerback play this season. And yet, really, they haven't even been talked about.
Yeah, great point. Barely mentioned their names tonight. On a night when Kansas City has 393 yards. And that's incomplete. Looking for a flag. Crowd wants one. Don't get it. Justin Simmons wrapping up Harris. And it'll be second down and 10. Smith say, come on, look at the board.
Nicely done by the young rookie, Justin Simmons. There he is, just one-on-one against the former basketball player. Good play. There's no foul there. Nicely done.
Broncos without TJ Ward. Lost Kayvon Webster earlier. Brandon Marshall inactive. Derek Wolfe went out. Second and 10. 4-man rush. Stunt up front, and that pass is incomplete. Tyreek Hill was the intended receiver. Third down.
You've got Travis Kelce as a single receiver to the left side, and you have 3 wide receivers to the other side. And what do you think they're doing defensively? They're manning up on this side over here, and they're playing all kinds of coverage back over to number 87, a tight end. That's the kind of impact he's having on this game.
He's in the slot. Outside him is Tyreek Hill. West is in the backfield. 3rd and 10. And that's whistled before the snap.
That's a big one because that drives them out of field goal range temporarily.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Mitchell Schwartz came over from the Cleveland Browns as a free agent, helping to shore up that right side. Third and 15, 4:06 left in the 3rd. Chiefs have led all the way.
Walk for 5 yards.
Some more than that, but it's incomplete. That's Tyreek Hill, who got bracketed there. So now,
that's surprising.
Yeah, you would think. You're looking for like 7 yards, 5 yards, whatever it would be to make this. Instead of a 55-yard field goal, they're not even going to attempt the field goal to bring Dustin Colquitt in.
I mean, they basically had Jeremy Maclin with 10 yards of space over there. They could have raised up, just thrown it to him, would have had the 5 yards and kicking the field goal instead of punting here.
Tony Correnti.
False start. Offense, number 42. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
That's Anthony Sherman.
Look at all the room out here. You just raise up, throw the ball right out there to Jeremy Maclin. You're going to have at least a field goal opportunity.
But no, went the other way. Not the worst penalty in the world. It gives Colquitt 5 more yards to work with. On the punt from inside Denver territory. And a fair catch is called for and made by Khalif Raymond at the 19-yard line. We were in here for a game about 2 years ago. Eric Berry had just been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. He had taken a shot in the chest in a game at Oakland. Went to the doctor, was told he had lymphoma. Of course, that ended that season. Went down to Atlanta for treatment. Spent Christmas 2014 in a hospital. And here he is, last year the comeback player of the year, and here he is on Christmas night in 2016 and having a heck of a year. He's going to the Pro Bowl again. An amazing story on so many levels. From the 14-yard line, Forsett is the running back, and we start with him over the left side to the 20, and he was talking to us about it the other day, how he found out about it, how his mom and dad helped him through it. He visited Children's Mercy Hospital. We understand this week that he has given more than 6,000 presents to the kids in this area. So they would at least have a toy for Christmas.
He remembered what it was like on Christmas Eve to be getting chemotherapy, and how lonely it was, and he wanted all those kids to feel better.
2nd and 4. On top of it all, that pass incomplete, thrown away, is his parents were there in Atlanta. You got a flag down here at the 23-yard line. There he was before the game, just reflecting in the rain. The rest of the team had already left the field to go back to the locker room before they came back out again. And there he was, and you can only imagine what he was thinking at that moment.
I'm sure just reflecting on how lucky he is to A, be here, and B, be able to play football at the level that he is. But it was really interesting to hear him talk about the Robin Roberts story and how having to get chemotherapy every 2 weeks. He thought he was unlucky and, sad about that. And then he saw the Robin Roberts story. He had to get, for 10 consecutive days, chemotherapy that was so painful, left in tears for so long, and it really helped him to get over the hump.
That last penalty, decline, ineligible man downfield. 3rd down and 4 now. And that's incomplete. And no flag intended for Cody Latimer, covered by Eric Berry. And he said the chemo would keep him up all night. His mom was in the hospital with him most of the time. So he's up watching television, and that's when he saw the Robin Roberts story at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but he also talked about how the true meaning of Christmas sort of comes through to him every single year. He said, having my mom and dad and friends in the hospital praying for me was, I'll never forget.
Riley Dixon with a line drive punt, fielded at the 43, and Hill cannot escape the grasp of Benny Fowler, taken down back at the 35. Less than 3 to go in the 3rd, an 11-point lead for Kansas City. Well, the Premier League has the gift that keeps on giving with a full day of coverage. Premier League Boxing Day begins tomorrow morning at 7 Eastern on NBC. SNF. Football. From the 38-yard line, Chiefs begin this drive. Handoff goes to Spencer Ware for a gain of 4. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Southwest. Just the low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Verizon, it's always a great gift on Verizon. By the new thriller Split in theaters January the 20th. And by Samsung Pay. Turn your phone into a wallet. Bronco players hosting the Boys and Girls Club of Denver. Chiefs on Terry Poe, Jeremy Macklin. Local high school seniors. Eric Berry visiting Children's Mercy Hospital. Right there, Tyreek Hill, who will, of course, draw a crowd every time he touches the ball. And that time it's Justin Simmons tackling him.
I'll tell you what, this guy's making some plays tonight here, right? Check this out. Sees the run going away, probably had a little coverage responsibility. Tried to run that same play they scored the touchdown on, and this time Justin Simmons, who also had the interception earlier, comes up and meets him in the backfield.
Chiefs scored all of their points in the first quarter tonight. Up by 11, 1:45 left in the 3rd. 3rd down and 9. Miller throwing his hands up. Thinks he was induced, but didn't look like it from here.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 58 was unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
And that makes it 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, you could tell what they were trying to do there. Von Miller, they were faking the blitz to the defensive right side and bringing Von Miller and company to that side. And he knows 3rd down and 9 is sack time, and he was hungry for that one.
Has not been a sack in the game tonight for either team. Kelsey coming in motion, going over the middle, makes the catch. 1st down to the 40-yard line. Came over the middle, stopped, went back over the middle again, tackled by Simmons. Kansas City 1st down with a little over a minute to play in the quarter.
A lot of great protection on that one. Here's Mitchell Schwartz on the outside going against Von Miller, and it was Charkandrick West stepping up from that running back position as well. Fisher on the outside, just good enough. Run him by. Nicely done. And I tell you, Travis Kelce put about 4 moves on that time to work himself open.
That was beautiful. Started inside, worked himself about a step and a half to the outside, came back over the middle to get himself free, and you got a fan on the field. So they'll chase him down. Ooh, that's one of the best tackles of the night. Of course, that's what's going to happen when you run out of the field, and that's what Kelce did to get himself free.
Too much eggnog. Not for Kelce.
So that stops the clock, and
I think Eric Berry liked that tackle.
Well, that was quite a tackle, but You know, all we do is just encourage nonsense like that. So let's go to Michelle.
Well, that gentleman will not be doing any dancing anytime soon, but Travis Kelce has been doing it all night. Have you seen this? He's having a career night in receiving yards. He told me he was dying to bust out a new touchdown dance. He hadn't scored since week 8, but he said to look for something Christmassy, like sleigh bells or reindeer. I don't know if that qualifies, Alan, Chris.
Well, he can do about anything he would like tonight. With 158 receiving yards, 6 games, 100 or more, tying an NFL record tight ends in a season, and an 80-yard touchdown, 9 grabs, a partridge, and 9 pear trees. And that's Ware wearing that defense down. Todd Davis makes the tackle, gain of 5, and that will take us down to either the end of the quarter or close to it.
You know, the other thing the Chiefs have done a much better job of tonight is not getting in those 3rd and long situations they did last time. Talking to Brad Childress, he said, we just played right into Von Miller's hands.
And that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. D. Ford will play the Sunday night theme for you. And we will be back in Kansas City after these messages. Aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, high above Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. I look at this place. This is the 45th season, and they redid it a few years ago, but it's still a great site. It's almost like Lambeau Field in Green Bay with pretty much a college type of atmosphere. A very different kind of place, but a terrific place to watch or play in a football game. 2nd down and 5 as we start the 4th quarter, and Smith throws, and that's caught for a 1st down. You know, Chris, I'm thinking about, they made the plans for this in 1968 or 9, opened in 72. They built the baseball stadium across the parking lot. Kansas City was so ahead of its time. All the other towns, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, built the soup tureens. You played in one of them, Riverfront Stadium. Baseball and football, they've all been torn down now. They all had AstroTurf. They got it right here. It's pretty amazing.
They did. Do you think you've been in the baseball stadium more or the football stadium?
Oh, close. You're right.
Close.
Did a lot of baseball in those years because the Royals were good.
George Brett and the guys.
Was here for the World Series in 1985 when they beat the St. Louis Cardinals. We had the disputed play in the 6th game with George Jorda. KC won it in Game 7, 11-0.
Nothing better than giving you a math problem. You'll stay up all night tonight.
2nd and 7 here. I know one thing, the day of the 7th game of that World Series, I'm in Dick Hauser's office before the game, and across the parking lot, the Rams are playing the Chiefs.
Is that right?
That was a pretty good day.
And you did
the
both?
Sports Conference. I didn't do that game.
Okay.
2nd and 7 from the 24. And Smith is going to take off again for another big run. Gets hog-tied at the 11-yard line. He's carried 4 times tonight for 46 yards.
Yeah, and as those linebackers start jumping the underneath coverage in here, it gives Alex Smith opportunities. And I got to tell you, Al, if this team is going to go on a championship run, and they could, you know, this is a pretty good looking team out here. There's Kelce on the outside. I think the last piece of the puzzle is going to be Alex Smith running the football, and you're seeing some of that tonight.
From the 12. They fake it to Hill. Kelce winds up with the ball to the 9. It's imperative really for Denver to hold them to at worst a field goal here and keep it as a 2-possession game.
Yeah, they are starting to pull a few things out of the playbook, and for Gary Kubiak, no tight ends, lost his fullback. They're sort of stuck in an offense now that is really not what he wants to be running.
Lost their ace running back, C.J. Anderson. Fullback Andy Janovich was doing a great job, and he got hurt. 2nd down and 7. Smith fires into the end zone, juggled and incomplete. And Harris doesn't know what to do with himself. 3rd and 7.
He's a good-looking player, and this Demetrius Harris really has started to make some plays here, coming up and making this cut. This is a nice move, and it couldn't have been an easier catch. You know, sometimes they say you let it into your body, and that thing can bounce off your shoulder pads in a way you can't believe.
Smith fires, and that's not caught by Hill, so they do hold him to a field goal attempt. Smith tonight is 22 of 33. You know what's interesting, Chris? 14 passes have gone to tight ends, only 5 passes to wideouts tonight.
Maybe this is why.
That's a good point.
I mean, this was kind of game over here, right? If they catch either one of those balls, it's a really tough spot. Now Denver at least still has hope.
27-yard attempt for Cairo Santos, who won the overtime game in Denver with the carom shot into the side pocket. Volker puts it down. And it is still a 2-possession game as Kansas City extends its lead by 3, 24-10 on Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By T-Mobile, switch to the network built for unlimited data. By Passengers, now playing in theaters. And by U.S. Bank. There are boys and girls. The old traveling circus. Around the country we go. Diana and her gang right there. Timmy DeCon. I don't know how these folks do it. Amazing, and we love you.
Kelly Hayes with the binoculars in front of his face. The one chance he has to be on national television. What's the matter with you?
Malibu Kelly Hayes. That's because he lives in Aspen. You know that, right?
Incognito.
Richie? A tick under 12 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. The Denver Broncos trying to stay alive. They lose tonight. They are out of the playoffs. Carolina already out of the playoffs. So your 2 Super Bowl teams of last season will be watching television in January. Santos to kick off. Breezy to the 4. Raymond. Loses the ball. Can Kansas City recover it before it goes out of bounds is the question. They do. Raymond trying to get a little something extra, and instead disaster.
Anthony Sherman coming with the strip. Let's make sure nobody's out of bounds as they touch the ball. They are not. Special teams have come up big. They make the play right before the end of the half. Make the play here. Complete effort tonight by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, their special teams, their defense. Raymond can only hold his head. This Kansas City team, they have 7 return touchdowns this season.
And one of the reasons Raymond's even up for tonight is the fact that 2 tight ends were injured. A.J. Derby and Virgil Green, so they brought up an extra receiver and kick returner, and it bites them.
And Norwood's had trouble fielding kicks, so they give it away here to the 34-yard line. Goes Sharkandrick West. Dave Tobe is the special teams coach, many years in Chicago. This guy really does a tremendous job. Got a good kicker, good punter, good coverage teams, and of course that's the hidden thing in the National Football League. Everybody's talking about offense and defense, but so often it's that special teams group that makes so much of a difference. Joe DeCamillis on the other side, the Broncos special teams coach, and he's been a really good one through the years.
A lot of years with the Cowboys. Tobe had Devin Hester and Tyreek Hill. That helps a little bit too.
A little bit. 2nd and 8. Tony Correnti will give us the call.
Timeout. Kansas City.
Simple as that. So it's
a 30-second timeout.
2nd down and 8. Andy Reid. So many good years in Philadelphia. Of course, the whole thing in Philly, you all know it. It's just, you know, can the Lombardi Trophy ever be rolled down Broad Street? Got him close into the playoffs most years. Got him to a Super Bowl, which you did in Jacksonville. Lost to New England, but couldn't get that brass ring.
A lot of really good teams, though, and I tell you, he's done it again here in Kansas City. Did it immediately, too. After a little bit of a slow start, they went on an unbelievable tear.
2nd and 8, off the fake, throwing, caught, and going down and then getting back up because he wasn't tackled, and taking it to the 10 is Harris, the tight end.
That's all he needs. One more weapon over here, right? And he's pretty good. He comes out of all those former basketball players and guys that can do this. And I'm sure he's a little fired up after missing that one. May have been down back a bit. If anybody, there's the challenge flag.
Yeah, it has to come out. It will, and they're going to take this one back. Cost them about, I guess, 12 or so yards out of the 24. So Kubiak throws the challenge flag, and
Denver is challenging the ruling on the field that the receiver who got up and ran was not down by contact.
All right. The final verdict when we come back.
After reviewing the play, the Kansas City receiver was down by contact at the 24-yard line. Therefore, it'll be Kansas City's ball, first down at the 24. And Denver will not be charged with a timeout.
And Denver still has a challenge if they need it. There's the contact, knee down, contact made by Todd Davis. So instead of having the ball 1st and goal at the 10, it's 1st and 10 at the 24.
You know, Al, one of the big differences in this game tonight has been the storyline for the Broncos all season long. Just 37 yards rushing tonight. There are 3 guys on the Kansas City Chiefs with more rushing yards than that, including Alex Smith.
Yeah. Who could have figured it? 453 total yards in the game for KC, 176 for Denver. And on the run, the pass is caught by Jeremy Maclin, the former Eagle, taken out by Chris Harris. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6.
You know, and anytime you got Maclin as sort of your 4th threat on an offense, that's pretty good too.
Shaquille Barrett getting walked over to the sideline.
Well, there are going to be a lot of questions around this Denver team starting immediately after this game.
And a lot of them will start at the quarterback position, as most discussions begin when you don't have an ace back there.
Well, and you know who some of the rumors are going to be about.
Let me think about that for
I'll give you one
a quarter of a second. 2nd down and 6 at the 20-yard line.
Hey,
kill. 6. Kelsey makes the catch, and he's smothered immediately, but they're still in field goal range. Todd Davis. So my lips are sealed, but his initials are TR.
Yeah.
TR.
You know, you don't have a guy as talented as Tony Romo that all the speculation is going to start very early. And, you know, and everybody you talk to, they really are excited about the future of these 2 young quarterbacks, Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. But when you have a defense like this, you want to play for world championships right now. You know, you don't keep them together forever. So you never know. He did it once with Peyton Manning, and it worked.
Certainly did. And then look, Osweiler out the door, and everybody thought he was the guy of the future. 3rd and 7, and that pass is overthrown. So it's 4th down. The question is now, can Kansas City kick the field goal and make this a 3-possession lead?
Watch Von Miller. Even when plays he's not involved, they kind of cut him, and he keeps on his feet and then falls back underneath the throwing lane and basically impacts Alex Smith's throw.
This will be a 39-yard attempt for Santos, who has already missed one from that exact distance. Justin Simmons looking like he's going to try to leap over the center, which he doesn't do. And Santos's kick is good to make it a 3-possession lead. 27-10, Kansas City. And we are back in Kansas City, Sunday Night Football, Week 16. Wrapping up. Next week we go to Detroit, final game of the year. Green Bay against Detroit for all the marbles in the NFC North. Raymond downs it in the end zone. Denver's ball, down 27-10. So there's your quarterback of the present on the left. On the right, maybe the quarterback of the future, Paxton Lynch. They traded up to get him, and of course the man who will make a lot of decisions in this offseason, John Elway.
Tell you what, of those three, I'll take Christmas past.
Yes, you will. A no-brainer. Simeon now on first down. Fires down the sideline, and it's knocked down by Marcus Peters, intended for Thomas. You know, we're speculating. We're talking about Tony Romo. This is where like kibitzing meets blather, but it's good. I mean, it's part of what we do in our line of work. And you know, it's not as if Tony Romo can get out of there to begin with, right?
Yeah, they got to pay him, and if you pay Tony Romo all that money, then you know you got to let some other guys go on your team and on your defense, and they have two basically free quarterbacks right now with these young guys.
2nd and 10. Simeon throws, caught at the 30-yard line. They really held Thomas in check tonight. They held Thomas and Sanders both in check tonight. Sanders has caught one pass for 26. Thomas 3 now for 20, long of 9 yards.
And the problem for Gary Kubiak is he's a running guy. And they don't have their fullback. They don't have their two tight ends in here. And so now they don't have their starting running back. And so they're not a running team right now.
Haven't been for weeks. 3rd down and 4. Simeon's able to convert as Jordan Taylor makes the catch and bangs his way down into Chiefs territory to the Kansas City 43.
You know, and we talk about Trevor Simeon, but look at this throw. There's on the end of the line of scrimmage, young man that's been playing awfully well for him, Jordan Taylor. They call him Sunshine, but he's been making some plays down the field, really been red hot as of late and become a much bigger factor on this offense.
That was a gain of 27. Simeon still well under 50%. He's 15 of 36. Backpedals and just throws that one into the ground. D. Ford was the guy who was busting through again. He's at a big night, number 55. 2nd and 10.
Trying to set up the screen underneath, and so just running everything off. But that time, Ramik Wilson saw it all the way and made the play. So these linebackers now, they're starting to figure out a few things on their own. Terrence Smith came in there and did okay. Ramik Wilson. But really, the Broncos never challenged them as far as trying to run the football at those linebackers.
They're on a draw on 2nd and 10. And then it is Booker picking up close to 8. It'll be 3rd down and short.
Yeah, and they've done so much, but Devontae Booker is going to have a lot of tape to watch this offseason. And how do you run these stretch plays, these inside zone plays that are so much the fundamental part of Gary Kubiak's offense? And they thought maybe bringing in Justin Forsett, he would understand it. It just takes a while.
3rd and 3.
Guess what?
Yeah, you got a flag.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, poor Donald Stevenson. We already know.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Well, you'd probably flinch if you had Chris Jones over you, too.
Third false start on Stevenson tonight. 3rd down from the 41. Simeon fires. The open man is there. Then he loses the ball. Booker, and it's juggled away by the offensive lineman. Daniel Sorensen created it. And he's at the bottom of the pile. Looked like Schofield had a chance. Kansas City recovered. Schofield was the guy who also had his hands on it. He couldn't corral it. And the Chiefs wind up with the football.
I've never seen a ball shoot that far in the air before. Anxious to see what happened here. Just got it out by Daniel Sorensen, and then it looked like Schofield was going to run for the first down for a minute, and he lost it. And there we go. Got to be a little tighter with the football than that.
The flag came down after the play.
Nicely done there by Daniel Sorensen. Been asked to play a lot of roles on this team.
After the conclusion of the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Denver, number 71. 15-yard penalty and a first down.
We don't want to mention his name because it's Christmas. Poor Donald. Second Denver turnover tonight.
It will get a little ugly from here.
Well, the reigning champs are going to have one more game. It's not going to mean anything except to Kansas City and to Oakland.
It'll mean a lot to Kansas City if they can win next week, because if Denver can knock off Oakland, right, then Kansas City jumps into the 2 spot and Oakland falls to the 5.
And you know what that means. Look at the playoff structure. Terry Poe. That was Sylvester Williams right there. He got 2 flags down on the play. You're right, it's going to get a little
Personal
sloppy.
foul, grabbing face mask, defense number 92. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play and a first down.
That's Sylvester Williams.
And Matt McGloin now with a big opportunity. We'll put it that way.
Very big. He's got to be the guy because of all things. That broken leg incurred by Derek Carr shelves him for the balance of this season. And again, what's the difference between 2 and 5 in the playoffs? Gigantic. If you're the 2 seed, you're off the bye week. You're home. You have a home game. And then if the number 1 seed gets to the championship game, you go there. Otherwise, if they get beat, you have 2 home games to get to the Super Bowl. You're the number 5 team. You're getting no home games, and you're playing 3 games.
Gigantic.
Sarcastic question. If you're the 5, you could actually have a home game. What would have to happen is the 5 and the 6 would have to go to the championship game, and then you'd play home. But don't count on it. It's never happened.
You just have to feel for a young man like Derek Carr, though, don't you? I mean, here's just been brilliant all year and taking over a great leadership position with that Raider team. And Jack Del Rio's done such a remarkable job out there. And tough on that whole organization.
Yeah, he suffered that pinky injury, and that looked like it was going to show him, and he came back and then won the game. Had it taped up, and then a broken leg of all things yesterday. Second down and 7. And West burrows his way to the 20-yard line as we tick down to 5 minutes to go. And Denver calls a timeout. Well, one of the greatest games ever played was played in 1971 in Kansas City, Old Municipal Stadium. It was the Dolphins against the Chiefs. There was Len Dawson. Ed Podolak had an amazing day. It was unbelievable. Garo Upremian was the kicker. The game went 82 minutes and 40 seconds, the longest game in the history of the National Football League. That's halfway through the second overtime period. 16 future Hall of Famers in the game. Podolak was insane that day. 85 yards rushing, 110 yards receiving, 154 on kickoff returns, 1 on a punt return. Apart from that, he didn't do anything.
I remember it well.
Oh, yeah, I remember watching that game. What a game. And that's a first down here for Weston. What people forget about is Stenerud, who's in the Hall of Fame, missed a field goal that would have won it in regulation. Yepremian missed a field goal in overtime and then kicked the game winner eventually.
Yeah, Nick Bonacani blocked a field goal in that game. Lenny Dawson, the quarterback on the other side, still doing radio here. And I did a whole lot of television with those two guys on Inside the NFL, so I heard a lot about that game.
That was one for the books. And that ended the Municipal Stadium part of the Chiefs' history, because the following year they moved in here. Stewart can't take him down with one arm, and West chugs his way for a nice little gain. 7 yards. Another guy who played in that game. There's Emmett Thomas, long-time assistant coach now in the NFL. Chiefs defensive backs coach. Had 12 interceptions in 1974. Playing for Hank Stram.
Yeah, the other thing I liked about that is Andy Reid, when he came here, was having a conversation with his defensive coordinator, Bob Sutton, and he's talking about that game in '71. He goes, I remember it so well in Miami, and I was a big Dolphins fan. Who was it they were playing again? He's head coach of the Chiefs. He took a little heat from Bob on that one.
2nd and 3 at gun. It's West to the 7-yard line. It'll be 3rd down.
I tell you, the guy I do want to talk about, though, is Bob Sutton just a little bit. They have lost so many guys off of this defense, and the defensive line, Bailey and Jay Howard, and then they lose Derek Johnson, their other starting linebacker, March Lillard in there, Justin Houston in and out for much of the year. And yet, game after game, time after time, they have done exactly what they've done here tonight. Come up with big plays to win football games. He's done a tremendous job.
3rd and 1. And to the outside, into the 1-yard line goes West. That'll be a first down. That'll take more time off the clock.
I tell you, they are playing good, sound, tough football. Watch the finish there by West, trying to get that thing in there so desperately. Good balance, though. They really do have it, and I think they've hit on the right formula here. Stay with your guys. Stay with Kelsey. Stay with Tyreek Hill. Run the football well with these two very good backs. Alex Smith out of the backfield running the ball some. This looks like a formula for a team that may well make a little run here in the playoffs.
It was Harris who came out, arching his back, gave it to West, and he trips. So he is stopped at the 3-yard line. So this is the number 2 defense in the league coming in, Denver. Houston number 1 overall. Harris trying to work it out on the sideline. And Kansas City, 481 yards. They had almost 250 in the first quarter when they scored 21 of their 27 points.
Yeah, and that whole incident in the locker room last week may have been no big deal, but it was a little indicative of maybe of what's happened to this team here at the end of the season, because until that Kansas City game, they're 7-3, and really it has not gone well for them after that game.
No, tried a 62-yard field goal. That didn't work. We come to the 2-minute warning, and the Kansas City Chiefs already have cemented a playoff berth. Will still have a shot at the division title. So there are the games next week. Those games on CBS, either at 1 o'clock or at 4:25. New England's at Miami. Some impact there. Oakland at Denver. Impact there in conjunction with Kansas City, San Diego. Because if Kansas City wins at San Diego and Oakland loses at Denver, then KC would go to the number 2 seed, and Oakland would drop to number 5. Now go to the NFC next week. You got those games. Dallas will go to Philadelphia, but Dallas already has the 1 locked up. Seattle and San Francisco could be impactful in terms of seeding. Giants at Washington as well. Redskins still with a shot to get into the playoffs. And then the The big one is on Sunday night. We'll be there for Green Bay against Detroit at Ford Field, 7 o'clock Eastern football night in America. The NFC North title will be at stake in that one, regardless of what Detroit does tomorrow night in their Monday night game against the Cowboys. Second down and goal from the 3. And here's Wes, and he'll plug his way to the 1-yard line. And it will be third down and goal, and the Denver Broncos are going to stop the clock.
How about the quarterback matchup in that game next Sunday night? It's not bad.
I mean, yeah, we know about Rodgers, and meanwhile, Stafford's having a great year.
I tell you, when Aaron Rodgers gets it going, there aren't many people can match what he's doing right now. And so many times, his whole relax, spelling it out, and it applied to this year as well.
Well, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win their 11th. Denver, which started 4-0, is going to lose the 7th of the last 11.
Guess who's going in now? Their version of the fridge. Here comes Don Terry Poe in.
Well, he's no stranger to the end zone. Crowd loves this.
The biggest man to score a touchdown in a long time, and
right,
here we go.
It was a run because they flipped it to him on a lateral.
He's
going to take it. Look at this. He's going to throw. Touchdown.
Oh my! Oh, look at the players.
Poe to Harris.
If Harris would have dropped that ball, they'd all killed him.
Oh, I know.
What a play. You may see that one about 10 million times the rest of your life.
So Terry Poe at 360 pounds or whatever has run for a touchdown and thrown for one this season. Fridge Jr. Meanwhile, the Broncos will store that baby away in their memory banks for next year.
Yeah, we'll see how the handshake goes afterwards too.
Conduct. Kansas City number 84 using the football as a prop in a demonstration. This 15-yard penalty will be added on the kickoff.
All right, that's Harris. But the damage has been done. Fridge Jr. right there.
Terry Poe looked like he was shooting a free throw on that one, and I guarantee you Aqib Talib has a comment or two about that one. And when the world champs get knocked out, you don't particularly want to have it rubbed in your face, and I'm sure that's the way they're feeling right now.
No doubt. This is going to make it 34-10.
Maybe.
33 and a half. No good. 33-10. Little jump pass here.
This is a free throw. Watch this one. This is a jump shot. Going to come up. Oh, yeah, a little follow through. Okay. Broncos may not like it, but it was pretty cool.
They got him listed at 346. What do you think?
I'll take the over.
Yes, I will too. Speaking of that. No, we're not there. 33-10. Kansas City. Well, the Chiefs, they have been to 2 Super Bowls. They were to Super Bowl I back in January of '67, losing to Vince Lombardi's Packers, and then under Hank Stram won Super Bowl IV. The year after the Jets stunned the Colts, Kansas City beat Minnesota, then the leagues merged in 1970. So it's been that long since this team's been in the Super Bowl.
They have enough. They do. They have enough weapons to make a legitimate run. Now, obviously, that run gets a whole lot easier if they get to play a few games right here in this stadium. They're tough to handle here. Good bounce back game for them after blowing that lead a week ago to come back here. Same sort of situation, and they brought it home.
Yeah, they've lost 2 games in this ballpark in the last month. One to Tampa, one to Tennessee. Have righted the ship tonight. Kickoff from the 20-yard line after the penalty. And this will be Lee Freeman. Coming up, Volkswagen postgame show. Michelle, the stars of the game. Bob Costas wraps up the game. Chris and I look ahead to next Sunday. All right, so Hank Stram, that was the last postseason game that he coached in 1971, that Christmas Day game. I got to tell you one story. So Hank gets fired here after the 74 season. He was the coach for the first 15 years. He goes to CBS to become an analyst. I did a few regional games that year. I did a game in this stadium with Stram the year after he got fired. I mean, the town's going crazy. People are in the stands yelling, Hank, Hank, we miss you. And Paul Wiggin took over as the coach that year. This is Jawan Thompson that won the clock out. So, you know the way we meet with the coaches. So Hank would not go to the meeting with Paul Wiggin here at the stadium. And Hank's office was in the stadium. This is where the Chiefs' offices are. And Hank was a meticulous dresser, loved to decorate his office. So he doesn't go, I go, and I meet with Wiggin. And I get back to the hotel and see Hank, as this one gets bounced incomplete. Did Hank ask me one thing about what Wiggin said? No. He wanted to know what Wiggin had done with the Tiffany lamp and the credenza. He wanted to know what Wiggin had done with the furniture in the office.
I've heard a lot of these stories too. My man Lenny Dawson's got a whole bunch of them. And he said, you know, wherever you may go, if there was an extra bar of soap around or an extra bottle of shampoo, Hank had it.
Oh, yeah. Hank was a beauty.
Yeah.
And boy, did he like to work on his suntan or what? 3rd and 12. Run the draw here with Thompson. Picks up the first down. And to wrap up, Henry Stram, in the years before we knew how bad the sun was, if you didn't protect yourself,
right,
he would put like bear grease on and sit there with a reflector at the pool.
I've heard of baby oil, but bear grease?
Well, whatever. Maybe it was baby oil, whatever it was.
Kelly, what's bear grease?
He's got the reflector going and the whole thing. Pass incomplete.
Oh, boy.
What a beauty.
There's so many. Boy, you go back and you watch a little bit of that game. Of course, we're reflecting back on that 71 game, but so many guys that were just idols of mine. That, you know, that you just as a kid, you're like, they were larger than life figures, and to hear them tell all those great stories after all those years was always great fun for me.
Just trying to matriculate the ball down the field. 65 toss, power trap. Henry Stram. Who is it? Tom Pratt, who's still coaching for the Arizona Cardinals, was a coach under Hank in Super Bowl I. And said Hank would not only scout the opposition, he'd scout out where all the cameras were before the game.
Yeah, work that close up.
Of course. 3rd and 3. That pass is incomplete. So the Broncos will hop on a plane, go home, wrap it up against Oakland next week. Kansas City ends its season at San Diego.
I talked a little bit about what they're doing on offense to give them a chance for a Super Bowl run. But what I'm seeing on the defensive side of the ball in this secondary and with this pass rush, that's a big part of it too. They have had big nights across the board in that secondary, and it looks pretty good.
It's pretty amazing. That last graphic, it's been since 2000 that we've had a season sweep for Kansas City over Denver. Henry Krieger Campbell, who just was activated today, and Denver just called a timeout. So this is a little tit for tat in a way, where you had Poe throwing the touchdown pass, and Kubiak would just love to return that favor with a touchdown at the end.
We'll give you a replay, but you won't have to worry about it. You'll see a lot of that play. I love the release. He had to play basketball at some point.
Well, can Simeon get it into the end zone? And instead, he has it intercepted by Eric Berry. They take a couple of swipes at him, and that will wrap it up. And just for the record, Dontari Poe becomes the first guy that we know of with a touchdown pass and a sack in the same season. At least since 1982, we don't know what happened before.